Fanfiction featuring Thorin Oakenshield and the original female character. Lost more than one can bear, not living, but surviving. Can he be resurrected to life again? Erebor after the dragon. Thorin survived and returned the house to the dwarves, but at what cost? Let's imagine for a moment that the daughter of a Russian Special Forces officer, a rather extraordinary girl with all the consequences and departures, somehow ends up in Middle-earth by coincidence. Of not entirely successful circumstances. At the same time, with elves, gnomes, orcs and a dragon snoring in a cave. A young dwarf goes to war under the guise of her father, which threatens her and her family with eternal disgrace. But she has no choice. Unexpectedly even for herself. The dwarf saves the life of the king of Erebor. But the secret must remain secret, so she runs away and hides without revealing her face. Will she be able to avoid shame and keep a secret? Will she be able to resist the temptation to receive the honor, respect and wealth due to her family for saving Thorin? Will she have enough strength to endure the trials of fate? Thorin did not like elves. In his opinion, they were arrogant and cold, but despite this, he could not deny the obvious beauty and grace unknown to the dwarves of some of them. Before the trip to the palaces of the king of the wood elves, the young prince did not even think that one of them would cause them trouble. Their alliance with the elves was purely business. And therefore there was nothing to be afraid of. And yet, a nuisance happened. The retinue had to stay the night with the Lord of Mirkwood and attend a feast on the occasion of the spring holiday. A girl from modern reality finally finds herself in a long-desired, and such a bewitching world. Petty quarrels, victories, and joys are all that await her there. But how will it all turn out in the end? Maybe she will be accepted there, and she will gain something besides friendship and camaraderie. Maybe at the end of this whole story she will not need to return to her world at all. Maybe what she wants to experience will come true for a long time. And is she exactly the missing link in this tale? He watches her, and she follows him. This game of hide and seek would have gone on for a long time, but he was used to taking what belongs to him. And those whom he considers his property, too. Even if they do not know about it. It all started very simply, as you might have guessed. There was a girl in a house on the outskirts of the forest. Not in a filthy house full of spiders and stinking of mildew. It was the herbalist's house. And this means delicious food, a warm hearth and home comfort. This is a fairy tale told on a quiet evening. A dream that has been embodied in words. Every sane person knows for sure. Hobbits and gnomes are found only in fairy tales. Dragons are found only in legends, and one can only dream of true love. But the land of Mediterranean is wide, and there is a place for everyone on it. Even a modest stunt, moderately cunning, moderately successful, but with a sincere desire to return home as soon as possible. And desires are such an unreliable thing. The vampire girl finds herself in another world, where as a result she meets strange creatures that are not in her world. In this work, my first work, the main character is a reasonable person who knows the line between normal and strange, so she does not have such super-mega abilities. She has the maximum, those abilities that are permissible for her race. Proud, harsh blue, hiding the sharp pieces of ice that have grown together with his essence, pierced the soul of the dwarf king 170 years ago, with small fragments only covering, but not filling the opened holes, in the place of which alienation and courage sprouted, strangling refined aristocracy with strong roots. Are they on their way? Gandalf is secretly looking for a man, with the intention of changing the fate of the Undermountain King, and the vision takes him to a distant other world, where a very ordinary girl lives. Growing from the most ordinary gnome, who will bring victory to Thorin's squad. To become the king's wife in order to save lives or to give the Durin family a hope of salvation. "38 bubbles of varnish on a girl's table is more than in a Picasso painting. You will never guess what to expect from her in the morning in the ochre copper palette. And if there are 4 girls, then this is an unpredictable element," the bearded dwarf was thinking, scratching the back of his head in bewilderment. The life of Thorin's squad will never be the same. So let's take a look at how the world order of Middle-earth can change with the appearance of representatives of the weaker sex in it straight from modern Moscow. An ordinary summer day, going to work in the morning. And now you are in another world among the gnomes, the hobbit and the wizard. What if you know the whole story from start to finish? Will it help you in the hike and save your friends? Is the new seer a deception and cover, or is it the truth that has not yet been revealed? From the very childhood I was considered a freak. And all due to the fact that she always thought outside the box. Besides, she also adored everything connected with magic and other worlds. But as you know, in our time everyone refutes its existence, and those who continue to believe are considered abnormal. Therefore, since childhood, I dreamed that I would find myself in another world and live there happily ever after. But I could not even imagine that this would really happen to me and that living in that world would be much more difficult than I imagined. A series of events throws an ordinary girl in Middle-earth. Without money, without friends, without knowing the language, without understanding what is happening. She is trying to survive in this strange and unfriendly world. But it is in this world, through thorns and obstacles, that she has to find her true love and make many choices before that. "Your presence here is like the wind in the trees, Miss Darrow," Gandalf said, smoke billowing over his head. "You can swing the branches, even pluck the leaves. but the tree itself will remain intact. In this story, we watch Elizabeth Darrow, who, without her consent, was transferred to Middle-earth by one annoying wizard so that she would help save the Durin clan. Slow romance between Lizzie and Thorin. The Battle of the Five Armies ended, and Thorin's life returned to its usual course, repairing Erebor, making alliances with elves and humans, the necessary marriage. But the king easily coped with all these difficulties, as if cracking nuts. So the girl imposed on him in his wife did not become a problem. Quiet and modest, she did not attract attention at all. She was so inconspicuous that Duboshit completely forgot about her. Fortunately, by that time the girl had already given birth to his son. But one day the queen will break. Middle-earth is a cruel world. And if it seems to you that the worst thing that can happen to you is to get into it, you are deeply mistaken. After all, no one has guaranteed that everything will be painless and good and that you will be human. Even Gandalf does not know all the secrets of the world, and the squad of gnomes, as you know, does not suffer from a great love for dragons. Of course he is not a gift. But who said it would be easy? Having won a great victory, Thorin paid for this with numerous wounds and remained on the edge between life and death. But the state of mind of the gnome is even worse. Will he be able to become the same, and who will help him in this? The story of a girl who, by the will of fate, one magical artifact and her own desire, found herself in Middle-earth. About the events of The Hobbit, she is neither a dream nor a spirit, but in general it would be worth it, because she will be in Dale even before Smaug arrives. Saphira is a caretaker at the Academy of Higher Magic. Small, round, like a bun. As a result of the coincidence of circumstances, Saphira falls asleep, and wakes up in the arms of Thorin Oakenshield. A sea of love, snot and pink bubbles. There is no Sapphire as a practicing wizard, her maximum is unpretentious home economics spells. She wants to go home and does not understand what this gnome needs. And he has quite certain feelings for her, which are difficult to hide in his pants. The halt near the forest did not bode well for anything interesting. The dwarves had no idea what disaster would fall on their heads. A wild beast that manages to get rid of the fetters. Make the hobbit jump aside, and the gnomes grab their weapons every time. No, this is just a woman of the dwarven race, who desperately longs for the death of the king under the mountain. And when he does not see, she walks on his heels. PFFT, think about it, and did not go through this. Once upon a time, When the dragon had not yet flown to Erebor, King Thor decided to marry his grandson. The boy turned 40, which means it's time to find him a bride. The best bride ever. Love. What is this love of yours? And without her, marriages are concluded and you live happily. Thorin strongly disagrees with this. But he cannot resist the will of the king. Sometimes a curse makes you suffer, and sometimes it makes you suffer doubly. And you never predict what exactly might happen to you in the next second. You wash, for example, a mug, trying to wash off the age-old dirt, and at the same time the new civilization that has formed on it, and then once, and you are already in the hobbit hole. Moreover, in the midst of a great event that will change your whole life,